The afternoon light begins to fade away as the cityscape kicks into action here in the magnificent Happy Valley on Hong Kong Island. It is Game 6 of the 2017 Regal Hotels Cup of Nations, live from the Hong Kong Football Club. It's Hong Kong taking on Kenya, the Simbas, against the home side. Joining me in the commentary box for this sixth and final game, Hong Kong Cricket Club Store, and of course, former Hong Kong international Paul Dwyer, the Big Bird. Wonderful to have you in.
How are you, Jedi? Looking forward to a good game.
As we check out the table now, and it's all fairly mathematical, although I'm not the person to be talking to about that. Russia have taken the Cup of Nations in their earlier win over Chile, a resounding 42-11 win. Hong Kong, however, sitting in second place, will look to clear out even further, and they want to improve the performances that they've put on the pitch to date as they come out against Kenya. First images of both sides as they make their way out to the halfway. Paul Dwyer, thoughts and comments? This Hong Kong side, you've been watching them. How have they improved since game one?
I think they'll look at just a continuation of the intensity. That first game from them obviously smelt a bit of an opportunity against a Russian side, which is usually slow to start. So the intensity was there from them. So they'll look to build on that today. Kenya's a team that they obviously know pretty well. This will be about the fifth time they've played them in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. So it should be an intriguing matchup. With the silverware now off the table, expect the ball to move around a fair bit, I would have thought.
Well, there they are, the Hong Kong side. Squared off, and here comes the handshakes, which is exactly what the fish heads like to do. That's a magnificent cap being sported there. The ones look like someone in from the spectators, but informally dressed. It's the way we like to see them down here at the football club. There's Kenyan side. They hit the ground. It would have been a long bit of travelling for them. They got rolled over early by Chile. They came out. They caused Russia some problems early on.
Yeah, they did. You know, you just got to look at this. They're a very athletic team. You can imagine if they get a bit of ball and a bit of space going forward, they'll be dangerous and they'll be tough for this Hong Kong, particularly on any broken play and counter-attack and that sort of stuff. So the likes of Jack Neville on the screen now will have to make sure his kicking game is in check for this. But it's tough for a team like Kenya. They're coming straight out of basically no rugby into a game against Chile and then into the might of Russia. So who knows what we'll see today. Late on a Saturday afternoon at Hong Kong Football Club, they might cut loose.
So the representatives of Regal Hotels, the major sponsor of the Cup of Nations for 2017, quickly getting down the line. Nice snappy handshakes, great stuff. Good vision coming in from our camera team as we get ready for the national anthems. The Chairman of the Board of Directors, Peter Schatz, and President of the Hong Kong Rugby Football Union, Mr. Peter Duncan, with the tie on. Mr. Schatz looking much more informal. Big Bird.
Continental, isn't he? A couple of the guys that are trying to drive Hong Kong forward in rugby circles continue. A few fresh faces in that Hong Kong lineup today. I guess a benefit of a tournament like this is they probably blooded a good half a dozen more players, so developing more depth. Couple of enticing matchups today.
And if one of those familiar figures seems familiar in the background in the red shirt of the Hong Kong Rugby Union, it is of course the one and only Ronnie Rutland, who is now residing here in Hong Kong, working for the Rugby Union, the adventurer himself. And time now for the national anthems. First of all, Kenya. Wonderful images of the Kenyan national side, and now it's time for the anthem of the People's Republic of China. And that's the end of the anthems as both teams now head off towards the middle of the pitch and get ready for this, the 6th and final game of the Regal Hotels Cup of Nations for 2017. Time now to take in the teams, and there's Hong Kong. Dylan Rogers starts his 3rd test match in a row. Cunningham joins in there at lock. Kyle Sullivan makes his way through to starting 15 with Griffiths on the bench. In the back line, including the return of Yukam Shing. The Kenyans have named a reasonably unchanged lineup, only a couple of changes there from the coach Jerome Parwater. Wilson Kapondo leads the side in their 3rd test match in the Cup of Nations. And this Kenyan side, we've seen some wonderful running from the likes of CG at 12. And into the reserves, and probably the standout name there, number 21, Max Denmark is in there. It's his 1st test match, the youngster, named on the bench, and just happens to be Father Michael's birthday today, so not a bad celebration for the Denmark family. And Salimi, Federico and Salimi, the referee today, as the lights start to dim, or the sun dims, and the lights around the ground start to kick in. Jamie Hood patiently waits for a start to this match as we get ready, and Salimi blows time on, and Jamie Hood gets the game underway with a restart down towards the Kenyan 22, and the Hong Kong side immediately flood into it, seal Kenya off inside their 22 for the exit play. Comes by way of their number 9 on Sumu. Taken to ground by Hong Kong, and the first set piece and scrum will be a Hong Kong feed. Interesting to see the first exchange up front. Paul Dwyer.
Be expecting, you mentioned Dylan Rogers 3 from 3 in starts for test matches for Hong Kong in this series, and himself and James Cunningham and Nick Houston are so important to this Hong Kong effort up front. So expect nothing more than a very, very solid beginning to this. A very, very good field position. Hong Kong look to attack from the outset.
So the opening scrum fed, it's all looking fairly solid up front. Hand goes in, played back. Rosley goes wide, finds Spitz. Onto it comes Connor Hartley. He gets on the front foot early. A bit of ball is all that Hartley needs to get his confidence up as Nick Houston wraps around the outside and plugs forward. Ball spills into touch. A turnover. The throw-in will go to Kenya, and Hong Kong showing some enterprise early on.
Good to see. It'll be a test for Hong Kong today, trying to keep on that momentum, and that's part of the challenge of rising in the stocks of World Rugby. But going wide immediately, expect to see a lot of that today. I like the look of Connor Hartley on the left wing. He'll prove some problems.
So the line out, Kenya now lost forward there by Kapondo, the captain, and he'll be kicking himself about that. Of course, Kenya arrived under a very sad cloud after losing one of their players only days before blasting off to Hong Kong. They travelled a long way. There was obviously some grief. Took them some time to find their feet. They showed Russia they could be very unpredictable against a team like Russia, who don't mind the structured opposition.
Crouch!
I'm thinking about this Kenyan outfit. If they do get the ball on the loose, they're pretty dangerous. Field scrum for Hong Kong. Good positive position early on for the home side. It's fairly tidy up front. Hood shadowing. Lamberley loses it behind him. Ball off his Hartley again onto the front foot, and yes, he is a real danger when he comes in those inside channels, as we've seen him do for Hong Kong Scottish. Hood finds Jans. Gets himself around the corner. Cunningham now. Hood looks back. Onward to Rosley. Rosley, Lamberley gets his shoulders through. Hong Kong hot on attack. Rosley will look to go wide. Picks up Neville. Neville the missed pass. Hartley's in the corner. And Connor Hartley opens the scoring for Hong Kong. Hong Kong putting all the pressure on. Hong Kong taking the points.
Well done to Hong Kong there, as we see Hartley just finishing in the left-hand corner. Made it. IM replay here makes it look easy. You get front forward ball in the midfield. Hood does well, quickly clears, and all the options on the outside. Neville does it really well here. Sizes it up, draws the man. Nice and easy.
Well, Connor Hartley, as they always say, he's a confidence player. 2 good touches early on, and he's the kind of guy that can really put the heat on an opposition. He's
I guess he's a very, very underestimated type player. He's got a good turn of pace, and he is a gigantic winger. A very, very good size winger, even in World Rugby standards. But he's picked his skill level up in the last couple of years, but he can cause any team problems on his day.
Matthew Rosley now lines his conversion attempt up from out wide in the opening minutes of Game 6. Rosley to the ball. First shot across the face of the goal for Matt Rosley, so the radar still to be tuned in. Hong Kong, they skip away to a 5-0 lead over Kenya.
Yeah, it looks as if the changes they made midweek, and then obviously back again today with a slightly tweaked lineup again. They're still maintaining that momentum. It's something that Lee Jones is looking for, using the word progression. So he'll be happy with that start.
Well, right around the world they're tuned in to Hong Kong. These live pictures coming from the Hong Kong Football Club. Magnificent venue right in the heart of the island, and Happy Valley is. Hong Kong tuck it up through Lex Kalika. He slams it up, and here's a midfield drive. Keep bringing it the same way through Hood. Rosley finds some space on the outside. Neville shows it and takes it into contact. This is good, powerful play by Hong Kong. They keep hammering up the channel. Jamie Hood organising. Such an experienced player for the Hong Kong side. Cunningham. Oh, he looked to give it away, and he held on to it just at the last moment. Probably the best idea. Rosley now drops it onto the powerful right boot. Set deep for Kenya, and that's well fielded for the Kenyan side. Exit kick isn't really an exit kick, it's more of a kick down the middle of the park. Rosley comes on, onto the front foot. Trips, gets up, not held. Hewson, straight on him. Hood finds Kalika. On the outside goes Barlow. Barlow the front row. What an outside step that was. Hood. Again, big Lex into the action. He settles it down as the forwards find themselves. Hood darts away and he finds Jans, and Dane Jans from the Valley side. Right in the midfield on the 22. It's kicked back loose. It drifts over. Hewson moves it on. Spitz puts on the footwork. Kenyans are up to it though. The defence holds. And now they move it back on the inside. Now, Rosley finding Neville. Here comes big Dan Barlow again from the USRC Tigers. Hood. Rosley into space. Rosley through the line. Rosley just about all the way. Lays it back beautifully. Toby Fenn at the line. What about that one? Try to Hong Kong. And Toby Fenn, the ever-present live wire scavenging loose forward, pounces in the IM replay show. Paul Dwyer.
What a start from Hong Kong. They're doing it at ease at the moment. Just quick ball from absolutely everything. The Kenyans are struggling at ruck time. They look like they're trying to employ not to commit to those, but they're going to have to start getting in there. You can't let Matt Rosley have any sort of space, particularly going down the left-hand side, because he will absolutely tear you to shreds. Toby Fenn, he's a workman, he's a tradesman. He's going to be there all day long to finish that sort of stuff off.
Well, it's good to see the likes of Dan Barlow getting an early touch, and we know that he can be a handful in the Premiership rugby here in Hong Kong, but it's good to see him get some space. He's a very attacking front row forward.
Well, it's great to see your type forwards with your confidence to do that. He's come on a delayed play around the corner there, and he's getting the ball in space. Here we go again with Rosley on the IM replay. Just waltzing through a pretty ineffectual tackle there, dragged down just short, and that's just too easy for Toby Fenn.
Terrific pitches from the crew here at the Hong Kong Football Club. And there's a try scorer himself, Toby Fenn. Usually gets round with a fairly infectious looking smile on his face. One of those smiles that a loose forward has because you know he's been up to something wrong. Matt Rosley, as we got on the far side, bit of attention being shown to one of the players that is down. Just can't quite tell. I think it may be one of the Kenyan guys. In fact, it is, with the red socks out the back. So obviously in a fair bit of pain. They've pulled out the stretcher, which isn't a great look. And although there has been some changes to this forward pack, it probably looks like it's settled down as a selection more than anything.
It has. I think it reflects the way that they're trying to play. Guys like Toby Fenn are a constant these days, whereas in years gone by he may have popped in and out of the side, but now he just provides that great link. They want to play quick, they want to play at tempo, and someone like himself, you know, you mentioned Dan Barlow, it's no surprise, a very mobile prop, good skills, he likes to have a run around, but he can scrum as well. So guys, James Cunningham are a converted back rower, so they've got size, but they've got the ability to play very, very quickly. So, you know, it's great to see such an enterprising brand of footy.
So just a bit of time off now as the referee and the medical team work on the player down. Number 16 entering the match is front row reserve Philippe Kimbili. Obviously it's not a great reason to be coming on, substituting a player. There's a few of the boys in from Dagfest looking resplendent in those black singlets.
Captain Grant front and centre leading the charge. It's a great day to come and watch some footy after a big day out saluting one of New Zealand's finest.
Well, they started off with a fair number this morning at around about 7:30, I've been told. And this would be the rearguard action by the look of things. Potentially the men who have got comfy couches, because I don't think the wife will be letting them in the bed tonight. However, for this lot though, the comfort of the public stand here at the Hong Kong Football Club, as they get to look on and watch. There's a bit of waving going on. Fantastic venue, the football club. It's been home to many good international exchanges, some of which you've appeared in, Paul Dwyer.
Yeah, I've played at a few stadiums around the world, and obviously a few of the big ones in NZ. And this is fond memories of this particular one. The crowd are right on top of you, and you know, if they can get a couple of thousand people in here, they make a ton of noise. I remember back to the South Korean game when we qualified for the repechage in 2014. Quite an atmosphere that you'll remember for some time to come. But some of the guys involved and not involved today, a few familiar faces up in the stand there. I guess that just shows the depth that this team is starting to generate when guys of the calibre that are sitting there aren't out in the pitch at the moment.
Well, for those of you who are just joining us today, this is game number 6 in the Regal Hotels 2017 Cup of Nations, as we take a look at the Kenyan reserve bench and those two young guys. They're not playing for Kenya today, but you never know. They might grow up to take the field for Hong Kong. That's the second most active sporting activity at the Hong Kong Football Club, the talking, quickly followed by the first, the drinking. One helps the other. There'd be a fair bit of genius going down at that table, as always. Paul Dwyer, there's never too far away from a rugby critic here at the football club.
Yes, some of the world's problems will be just getting solved right now, I would imagine. That's for sure.
Couldn't happen at a fast enough rate. So, good to see the kids in here. Great shots of the crowd. Youngsters enjoying themselves at the international rugby. Tremendous to have the competition again for the third time in a row. Hewson practices his hands in the air. He's a well-known fixture here at the football club and at the Happy Valley for not only the Valley Club but also the Wednesday night races.
He knows a horse or two, doesn't he, Nick? And congratulations to him this week. 50 tests. 50 tests for anybody anywhere is a great achievement, and he also got a place in one of the Cup Carnivals in Melbourne as well. So it's been a good few days for him and family.
So Toby Fenn, he looks all ready. He doesn't really want to cool down. As we look, and they're still working hard on the injured player, which is fair enough. The medical staff here be taking every precaution possible.
It's never good when you see such long breaks in play. Hopefully they're just taking every precaution possible, and it's nothing that is too serious for the Kenyan hooker. He's down at the moment. As a result, I think it was might have collided with Lex Kalika heading in there on one of his runs in the lead up to that try. But the break in play probably for the Kenyans might have come at unfortunate as it is, might have come at a good time. So a lengthy stoppage. Hong Kong throwing the ball around, getting some ball skills in, hoping that they can just sort of seamlessly move on from this.
Well, you can usually gauge the severity of an injury when you see who's in attendance at the site, and certainly when they pull out the stretcher in the modern game, they do so for very good reason. Most players would prefer to sit up and get assisted off, or even if they can, move off the field under their own steam. It's not often they pull out the stretcher, so we do hope that the player involved is all right. Every effort possible is made and the rules of the game to keep the players safe. As manager Richard Cook imparts some of his wisdom about pork chops on Ali McClay. As the crowd show their appreciation for our player leaving the field now under the eyes of Doc Owen, who's been a pretty good sight for sore eyes, I'd say, if you're injured in this town. Life member of the Valley Club is Matt Rosley now. Paces out his conversion attempt. Rosley for the 2. Kick looks much more on target from Matt Rosley, and it's good. 2 more points to Hong Kong. It's 12 points to 0 after a long break for injury. Matt Rosley was still sharp enough to put it between the sticks. Kenya bring it back to restart as we get ready to continue Game 6 in the Cup of Nations. 12-0, Hong Kong lead Kenya. Underway with the restart. Climbing high is Hewson, almost exactly as he practiced. Hood over the ball, short ball, and they find Dane Jans. He's always pretty keen to find some contact if he can. Now back to Rosley. Slams it down the middle of the pitch. It's fielded and away they come now. Kenya looking to kick for some territory. Awkward bounce for Hood. Oh, it's a shocker, it's ugly, it's terrible, and he's thrown into touch like a rag doll.
A little better from Kenya there. They desperately need some field position, and almost when Hong Kong's got the ball, a penalty or two might not go astray just to try and slow this momentum down a bit. But they'll look to build from here. Good field position to head off with.
Kenya through Kapondo. It comes down. Now they move it into the midfield. CG onto the centre. 13 is Bunya. Wide. They come around wide again. The Simbas now with some ball and some continuity. Into the midfield they run. They keep the ball running. CG again. He's floating around. He's an attacking player. He's a devastating runner, CG, but he's also a very, very handy player to have in and around the contact ball. It's 7, Davis Chengi. Gets upended and thrown back. Now Kenya going backwards ever so slightly, lose the balls. Next Kalika pounces on the loose ball. Hartley to ground. Hood, the kick over the top and the pressure from the halfback as well. And is that Dylan Rogers striding out on the inside line there? My word, he's making an impressive hand of things, is Dylan Rogers.
Yeah, the man who can do anything. You would have thought he would have been a little bit more focused on hitting that ruck, but off he steamed after that one. But again, just doing all the right things at the moment. Jamie Hood, extremely experienced, just dinks one over. Kenya's going to have to work hard to get out of here.
They do well as they go down to the number 5, Oliver Mangeni. Loose ball is picked up by Yukam Shing. Hood quickly on to Jans. Slips the first tackler. And just to get the ball, it's untidy and it's slow and it's static. The arm is out for Hong Kong. The penalty for Hong Kong. I'll be interested to see what's on their minds here, Paul Dwyer.
You would think they'll tuck this one into the corner. No, taking the points. Taking the points, interesting there. They appear to have all the momentum behind them at the moment, but sticking to the plan, you would think.
Well, it's a sign of perhaps a bigger picture for Hong Kong. They might be playing the prescription here. One would have thought they'd be eager to get down there and put the points in them, but keeping that scoreboard ticking over as we come up to the 12-minute mark.
Well, I guess they don't get as many tests as they would like throughout a year. This is last of 3 this time, and then they won't be in action again for a good 6 months or so. So I guess they are putting through a bit of a rehearsal here, putting the building blocks in play as they head into a qualification there next year.
And Rosley's attempt for the penalty, far side in front of the Fosgate stand. Well struck by Rosley, and it's another 3 points for Hong Kong, 15-0 after 12 minutes. And it's a good, strong start from the home side.
Well, that's easy for Matt Rosley from that sort of a distance. So it'll be interesting to see here. Nick Hewson, good before in the year. Let's see Cole Sullivan as well. They'll need to exit here, and I guess these are the types of things that they'll look to put pressure on themselves here at 15-0. They need to exit here well. Expect Rosley to probably kick early.
So the restart falls to the middle pod, and Hewson finds himself in the action again, and it's a show and go by Connor Hartley, and that is a show of confidence as he takes the first ball. Hood offloads, and Sullivan's the name of the player that comes charging through. Hewson waiting at first receiver, they miss him out. Fan, great hands by Hong Kong. Perhaps too much from Hong Kong as Fan unloads and it goes in front of Hartley.
Lera coming out of their own end there. Obviously the temptation, the space is on the outside. Again, there was a few gaps there. The Kenyan defensive line is guys shooting out and creating some holes. But they're finding themselves on some good field position here. Let's hope they can make something of it.
Michael Hall tuning in from Munich. Wonderful to have you on board. Fans joining from right around the world. We can see them on Facebook Live. Keep the comments coming. 12-15-0 to Hong Kong as the Maul tightens up. There's a ball in there somewhere, released by Kenya through on Somu. And they dash away in midfield set. Now this is a good position for Kenya. Oh, it looked like it was tampered with. It's going to be an advantage to Kenya. As Simeon drops it over the top, Yukam Shing claims the ball, but will come back for the penalty. Paul Dwyer.
It shows what they can do when they get a bit of ball in the right spaces. A pretty fierce-looking driving maul before. There was plenty of effort going in there, but just simple stuff. A wide play. They've got some athletic guys in that midfield. They bang in hard and get around the corner. It puts pressure on this Hong Kong defensive line. So, looking to go for the points here as well, trying to get some reward for the efforts. They don't look a bad side when they put things together, and they can just sort of try and string a few more phases. They've had a couple of problems when they've tried to clear the ball from the set phase. A couple of lineouts have been dropped in transition. So if they can look to string some things together, they've got the guys that can put some doubt in the Hong Kong line. That's for sure.
Kenya through their winger, Darwin, Mukidza. Mukidza's kick is straight down the middle. It's a formality for Mukidza. And Kenya onto the board. 15-3 in Hong Kong. 15 minutes gone.
Hong Kong coach Lee Jones probably going to be a little bit disappointed about that. First time Kenya's come down into the Hong Kong half, they've come away with points. So, again, talking about the little things to keep on progressing with, that'll certainly be one of them.
Jamie Hood onto the right foot. The restart is high, wide and handsome. It spins back and Barlow runs onto it like a freight train. Waiting now, Hood looking for a receiver. Decides to go long to Kalika and he straightens up and buries himself into the heart of the Kenyan defence. That's good ball for Hong Kong. Rosley now, ball back on the inside. Fenn, the ball will be quickly available there. Great work at the breakdown by Kenya. They just slowed it down a fraction. James with support and they come through and they flood through hard, but Hong Kong keep the ball. Now they rumble away. These short yards, they're happy to pinch. There's the Biltong chief, Dylan Rogers, up and over the ball. Hood, he releases. Sullivan. Now it's a pick and go. That's Cunningham, the man from Kowloon. It's lost forward and it's a penalty to Hong Kong. Will we see another attack on the poles through Matt Rosley? Nice period of play from Hong Kong.
All leads from a game. We just touched on the fact that mistakes are going to be the thing that really does hamper this Kenyan side, and straight from the kickoff, not collecting that restart. One of the cardinal rules of a lock forward, you've got to be good in the air. I didn't do much on a rugby field, but I caught kickoffs, did I? And you know, they're the kind of things that can really just cancel out all the good work that was just done.
So Hood feeds it into the corner and Hong Kong come down. They're ready to make a statement here as Dane Jans takes it. Full line out called for Hong Kong. They drift, they take it. Sullivan takes 2 bites of the cherry and it comes back for Kenya. It's a miss for Hong Kong and they won't be happy with the mistake. They managed to get away with it, Kenya. Oakenbilly takes the ball and rumbles away and the ball goes into touch and a missed opportunity for Hong Kong. I'll be disappointed. Dane Jans goes back and lack of communication. It just went wrong at vital times. Lamberley takes it, but he's disrupted in flight, so he has to go to ground, and they've stolen that back, so they've pilfered it well. Kenya, now they decide they want to try and break out through Mukidza. Wide to Simiu. And he slams it down the track, and Jack Neville has to come round and to take it, and he takes 2 Kenyans with him at the same time. That's a great chase from Kenya. Boy, where they put on some pressure, and the counter ruck, and they've got the ball if they want it, I think. Comes back for Hong Kong, and it's a penalty to Kenya. And my word, they put some pressure on that kick.
That's where they're dangerous. Their ball bouncing around in the backfield. Jack Neville a little bit hesitant to try and pick that up, and they're coming through in numbers. And some aggression at that breakdown as well. Drove straight over the top of that. Great to see.
Well, they had some numbers down there pretty quickly, didn't they, the Simbas? It was a very, very, very good kick from Simiu, but it was an even better chase from his teammates, and it's given Mukidza an opportunity to throw another 3 points up on the board. 18 and a half, 19 minutes gone in the first half. Mukidza's kick could be all important. Darwin Mukidza, 4-3. His attempt to poke at the ball, he lobs it over, and Kenya go to 6. Hong Kong on 15. 19 minutes ticks over. That's all it takes, Paul Dwyer.
It is. One venture, one shot, 3 points. Just keep racking those up, and I'm sure that will be probably the mindset of the Kenyans. We just got to hang tough here, try and absorb what Hong Kong's throwing at us, but if we can go down there and get points every time, then we are in this, that's for sure. So it's got to start here, though. If they can collect this kickoff, Hood's going to pepper that same side.
15-6 to Hong Kong. Kenya trailing by 9. Take that kick securely. So My esteemed co-commentator will be quite happy with the locks on that occasion as the ball goes high again. Coming across is Hood, and Jack Neville now gets on the gas, and Jack Neville hits the Jets. Oh, he's an elusive player when he gets going, Jack Neville. Hood, Hartley, Kalika under contact. That's a quick blowout. James is on skin, and here, look, Dane James just knows only one way, that it's straight up the guts. Hewson bides a bit of time. The support comes in. Rogers, he goes to ground. Hood over the top of that. Sullivan on the outside waiting for the ball if he can. Now he comes in and joins the working group, and they nudge it up just onto the gain line. Hood wanting more from his forwards. More urgency, more bodies. Wants to keep them in the game. Get them off, get them on their feet. Barlow thugs his way through the line. Now Hood releases. Short ball. Kalika straight up the guts and onto the try line. And Big Lex gets fired in from short range for a 5-pointer.
Taking their opportunities when they present themselves, Hong Kong, and you're exactly right, Big Lex. That close to the line, he's not going to disappoint there, that's for sure.
Well, there he is from the Hong Kong Scottish Club in Hong Kong. One of the stars of the Premiership here in Hong Kong. Has been for a few years. Used to be the absolute nemesis for most referees, the way he'd run around tackling people, but that's how it's done when you're from Lawrence.
Yeah, he's not shy about using the shoulders, that's for sure. He throws himself around like a refrigerator, that's for sure. So but he is just so hard to handle at times. But there, it was fairly routine for him, and that probably came off the back of good things from James on the left-hand side. Dan Jans, also Nick Hewson. I am replay here. This is just the back end of it. Nice little short ball, great line from Kalika. Just marching through some pretty ineffectual tackles there. You're not going to stop him that close, that's for sure.
So Lex gets on the scoreboard. First try of the tournament. 22 points to 6 now. As Nato Simu restarts for Kenya, and he goes a little bit wider on the restart. Some confusion in the background as Tyler Spitz has to get it, and they'll be trying to get him on the ground as quick as they can. I don't know if they will. They'll struggle if they don't keep moving forward. They do move forward. That's the best option. Finally, Spitz gets to ground. Very lucky indeed. And in the end, the ball goes back to Kenya. So, mistake, Paul Dwyer?
Yeah, I guess at 22-6 up, these are the little things that you've got to try and focus on as you move forward. From the kickoff, ball hit the ground. Not good to begin with, and then Tyler Spitz got caught in a pretty awkward situation. Probably did well to stay in the field of play and trying to just buy some time for his forward pack. But again, continue to harp on about it. The other little things they've got to work on. That's the progression they want to see. But from a Kenyan point of view, they're seeing little glimpses. They get an opportunity there. They could have just let Spitz find his way to the sideline, but they put some pressure on him.
Set.
Scrum time. Kenya with the feed of the ball on Sumu. And Sumu now. Simu playing fairly flat. He gets to CG. Wrapping around in Simu. Oh, just coming into the line. Ball just behind Oyangol. And finally, CG gets the ball, and Kenya keep hold of possession. That's better play by Kenya as Kapondo picks the ball up and rumbles forward. Gives Simu some front foot action if he can take it. Big run coming in from Mbanya. On Sumu, finds Simu, the bigger one. Not hard to tell the difference between the front row and the first 5'8". Karia on Sumu, looking for some runners. Short side they go. Very slippery character on the wing is OG. There's good sequence of play, good continuity being built by Kenya, and even though the tackling coming in is ferocious from Hong Kong, still it's Kenya with the ball. Now into a bit of space. They're looking deadly, this Kenyan side, when they get the ball running free. And Bunya there, the fullback, coming into the action. Chinga. Now they release into the midfield. Big, strong hit. What a collision on Simu. Simu. Oh, it's almost Yu Kam Sheng just about got the hand on the ball.
Like a thief in the night, he was hanging around there. You could see his eyes light up when he saw that ball float wide. But you just mentioned it then. Kenya, if they can continue to just string some phases together, they do look dangerous, albeit it's all happening a little bit slowly. And as you see here, that pass, oh, I think the only person that would have caught him was a ball boy at the other end, that's for sure.
Well, the cameras would have caught it. Tremendous stuff, the iron replay there, showing just how close it was for Yu Kam Sheng. He could have caught that, he would have lit it up, and I don't think they would have caught him. He is that quick. So, scrum time, Kenya with the loose head and feed. And it goes, good shunt by Hong Kong, but Kenya now. Nato, Simu, he unloads, and it's Soji into the action, but he gets an accidental offside, and just that little collapse of concentration. Paul Dwyer's cost them the ball.
Yeah, just a bit of execution there. They were unlucky. It just looked like they're just a half a yard off it at the moment. Hong Kong certainly putting some pressure on them and causing the odd mistake or two. That defensive line, as you mentioned, is tough. A lot of big collisions coming in, but they just the odd thing at the wrong time. If they can sort that out, hopefully heading towards half time and then start of the second half, they'll certainly remain competitive.
26 minutes gone in this test match between Hong Kong and Kenya. It is game 6 of the Regal Hotels 2017 Cup of Nations. 22-6, Hong Kong lead Kenya. The title already has gone to the mighty Russian team, who have taken out Chile in game 5. Rather resounding victory, 42 points to 11, to claim the Cup of Nations Championship for 2017. As we take a look at the crowd, and it's a fairly robust looking, healthy crowd. The likes of Mr. Brian Stevenson in the middle of the shot wearing the glasses, and Trevor Gregory just to his left, looking like he's just come off an economy class flight.
Yeah, healthy crowd, and getting treated to some quality rugby from the home side. This is how everyone wants to see the game played, and hopefully continue for the rest of the afternoon.
Well, they may be behind on the scoreboard, but the chat is all positive from the Kenyan fans online on Facebook Live. Lots of support, lots of good comments coming through, so keep them coming. These Kenyan fans really do enjoy their rugby, and they've been joining us en masse for the entire tournament. So fantastic to have you with us as Kenya now run the scrum away. Lamboulay keeps in contact with it, and he draws the penalty on behalf of Hong Kong. And Thomas Lamboulay, this is, well, third test match start in a row for Lamboulay. It's been a long time overdue, but finally they've got the mercurial Frenchman on the park.
And he's making the most of it. I think in the back end of the Asian Rugby Championships earlier this year, he got his opportunity with an injury to Falvey, and he certainly took it with both hands. So they certainly do need a very, very good. We've always had a good number 8 off the back of a pack, and with a team going forward like they are, just nudged into touch there. If the team going forward like they are, his skills certainly become more important.
Vicky Higgins joining us from Devon. We weren't aware that they had the internet in Devon, but that's fantastic. As we take in Dane Jans midway 22 and 10, Fosgate side of the ground, and now Matt Rosley runs on. Kalekin straight at the target. He went in like a missile, and Hewson puts away Jans, and Jans with the big fend. They keep it trucking. Lamboulay right with him. So is Fend, the Valley Triumvirate. And now they keep hammering away. That's Dylan Rogers. Hood goes wide. Good charging defence from Kenya. Stops the play in its tracks. That's good defence. Courageous defence by Kenya. Coming up to the 28-minute mark. Sullivan through the gate. Sullivan at the line. Lays it back. Rogers is there with him. They're over the ball in numbers, Hong Kong. Fenn, he lets it go. Oh, look, Dane Jans is going to get his nose over. Now Jamie Hood organising his forwards, and it's Sullivan helping out as Barlow as the little error is caused. And that's pretty stoic defence by Kenya, Paul Dwyer.
Just a little knock on there. Dylan Rogers, obviously not good at bending over and picking balls up, but very good in the scrum time. He'll look to make amends for that now. But Hong Kong just doing the easy things there. The forwards just taking over that phase of play. A few pick and goes around the corner. Getting close, as you mentioned. Jans and Sullivan just pulled down short. And Kenya off the hook a little bit there. Expect a ton of pressure to come through this front row now.
Well, pleasing to see the likes of young Cole Sullivan actually getting his head into the dark stuff and turning a few bodies over. So Hong Kong wonder now whether they'll put the heat on Kenya to see whether they can hold it, and there's definitely a squeeze, but good strong scrum by Kenya as they break out. And they're chasing hard with the clearance kick as Jack Neville now takes the ball. He's rattled the ground. What a terrific bit of chasing by Kenya. Now they break out, and it's Hartley manages to get himself in the action. Now, and finally, a penalty comes, and that's because Kenya placed Hong Kong under unbearable pressure. They had to give it away.
What a chase. What a chase from the winger on this side of the field. Jack Neville did not know what hit him. He got ball and player at the same time, and Hartley had nothing much to do but to just hold on to that ball. So well done to Kenya. Great chase.
So Kenya decide to pull it into the corner. They want to stay connected to Hong Kong at 22 points to 6. And certainly a 7-pointer would do that, considering they're down to the last 10 minutes of the first half. Shorten line out for Kenya. They come round the front. Kenya take a dart at the line. Hong Kong, they can't keep him out. And it's Kenya in with a try. Well, they rolled the dice and they won, Paul Dwyer.
Fantastic play around the front of the line out. Fantastic. Drew them back.
Well, that was a terrific play. I think it was the hooker or the winger that's managed to stay out wide on that one?
Fantastic. You see the number 8 just lurking around the 5-metre line. Comes in, pops it, the spare man hooker goes over. Tremendous play. Something out of the Alan Jones coach Wallabies playbook from the 1980s, but man, it works. So the New Zealand Maori did that against Canada a couple of weeks ago, so it's back in fashion.
That was a beauty, wasn't it, when they went round the front. Good vision from the IM replay just to show the lack of room they were working with, but Kenya got the job done, and that's a try to Kenya. And that's the result they were after. And if they wanted to stay in touch with Hong Kong coming into the end of the first half, that is certainly the way to be doing it. As we watch now, McKidza, as he lines up his kick from out wide. It's a difficult kick for the winger. His attempt, he's got under it beautifully. Look at that. What a kick. What's an absolute beauty from McKidza as we look for the IM replay, and it comes around the front, and it is the reserve hooker, and he's just muscled his way through there as Hong Kong have taken their eye off the space. That's a well taken try, Paul Dwyer.
Very, very well taken try. Fitting that McKidza converted from the sideline. He was the guy that did that remarkable chase and pegged Jack Neville down to begin with. But again, come away with points every time you can get down there. If they stay in touch, they will be a problem.
22 points to 13. That's exactly the result Kenya were looking for. And now they've really put the heat back onto Hong Kong, sweeping down the field, and these chases are working wonders for them as the oval nature of the ball gives no opportunity for anybody to guess. Jack Neville, what a run that was from the Kowloon 5'8". He is a live wire when he gets going. Hood having to fend off all the pressure. Sullivan gets in there. Rosley under pressure as well. Well, Hong Kong just need to get themselves together here. Ball off to Dane Jans from Hood, and now he looks to go wide. It's Jack Neville into pivot. He puts it on the right foot. Ball bounces freely. It's picked up by Kenya, and away they run again. Here's the ball in hand, and if the tails are up with this team, Hong Kong could find themselves in real trouble. The ball back on the inside. Kenya flowing forward. Simiyu lobs it out. Ukam Shin can't cover it. He does well though on his own against 4 men. Rosley comes across, but still Kenyan stride forward. The Simbas now. Hot attack. Simiu carts the ball forward. Nato. Simiu taken down outside the 22. Now Kenya, they start the wee rumble. The forwards arrive in numbers. Let's calm the ball down. Hong Kong almost bewildered on their own 22 as they start to soak up a lot of pressure in the back end of the first half. Slight error, could have been lost forward. There's the advantage being played for Kenya. The arm is out. Kenya now on Sumu. Looks back on the inside. Channel closed fairly quickly. It's a penalty though to Kenya. And they come down and they take an opportunity to take more points. And do they go to the corner again, Paul?
I would suggest they would here. Certainly coming home in this first half with a wet sail. Something Hong Kong, first couple of games as well. This little period before and after half time, they do drop off a little bit of intensity, but some of the play again. Mizuka down this, they're going for goal. Down this right-hand touch again, proving problems for the Hong Kong defence. They can play these boys if they get a shot down this end.
Well, they've managed to turn things around. They've managed to get some momentum going their way. And they are really operating now at a pretty good level.
Well, you got the feeling though that whenever if they could just get their hands on the ball and going forward, I might add, the broken field play certainly does suit them when they are trying to just string phases together. This Hong Kong defensive line is pretty uncompromising, and they can't handle that well at this point. So they went wide then, and they found space. Obviously, Hartley's hanging back looking for a kick, and fair play to this Kenyan boy. Again, the guy taking the kick, he's looking the goods out here.
McKids' kick from the far side. Not quite on the mark, and Hong Kong potentially slip off the hook there. 22-16 scoreline with 4 minutes to go. But still, I wouldn't be too surprised if the Simbas feel like their tail is firmly up at the moment. Oh, gee, they're a dangerous mob. They tend to get round when they start hunting. They're just looking for the big hits. Matt Rosley from inside his 22. The Hong Kong fly half. Puts it down and into Simba territory, and now they come running back through the likes of Owilla. Short side they go through Karani. On Sumu. There's Simiu. This is 5'8". Bounce pass out wide for 15 on Youngo. Coming back is Chenga. Davis Chenga. He's been a hard man in this tournament. Great ball. Oh, gee, and they just about managed to sneak it through the smallest of gaps, Kenya. They're starting to show some enterprise. Dangerous times for Hong Kong closing out the first half.
Rolling forward. That's the secret for these boys. Front forward ball, and they can do something. Nice little switch and play there. The halfback is a live wire. Number 8 is carrying well for them and getting to them to the gain line. When they can do that and they can clear space wide, they've got guys that can cause some headache. And that's what's happening here. Like you mentioned, Hong Kong has to be very, very careful here in these remaining 4 minutes. Sensible first, good scrum, they need to clear.
So the closing moments of the first half. Game 6 of the 2017 Regal Hotels Cup of Nations. It's Hong Kong leading 22-3. It's Kenya making all the play at present as Hood feeds the Hong Kong scrum. It's back under the feet of Thomas Lamberley. Hood now finds Hartley, and Hartley almost tentatively into the contact. They get over the top of him. Hood now looking for his options. He goes long to Rosley. Rosley onto the right foot. Coming through is Yu Kam Shing, and Yu Kam Shing, he's hustling, and he's got his Tyler Spitzers with him. Yu Kam Shing, if he can hold his feet, he does well to keep the ball alive. Great work from the Tigers winger. And they just keep flooding through. That's Barlow arriving on the scene with some impetus. Toby Fenn, he arrives at first receiver, takes on the initial line of defence, puts the ball back. Hood now. Oh, the ball was lost. And the opportunity goes begging. Kenya get themselves off the hook. 2 minutes left to play.
His eyes lit up there. He saw Dane Jans coming around the corner and looked like he would have gone in untouched near the posts. And I think he had passed it before he had his hands near the ball. That's for sure. But again, it's that mistake down in their own half that's certainly not doing Kenya any favours. This time the fullback couldn't handle that ball coming through. And Tyler Spitz pounced and Hong Kong just about over again.
Well, Ukam Shing made a big chase of that. You saw him put in the hard yards in the first 20 metres, and he got himself down there just to project some influence in the face of the fullback for Kenya, Tony Onyango. Kenya's defence now. A lob over the back, and there's some loose ball that Hong Kong can pounce onto, and they're very lucky indeed, Kenya, to potentially get away with that. And Nick Hewson tries to counter ruck, and it comes back to Don Summel. Down as far as Connor Hartley, and will he decide to pick up the challenge? Steps well, tries to tickle it out the back, and Nick Hewson's there on hand to cover up the mistake. Neville. Hartley goes to Sullivan, and the young lock forward tucks it up the shirt and goes straight up the gut. So does Dane Jans. Hood now looks short side. Oh, ball's a bit hot from Jack Neville to Tyler Spitz, and potentially that might be the way things are really for Hong Kong in this last 20 minutes.
You don't mind that. That's going to happen with the likes of Jack Neville. These guys, Neville, Spitz, Rosley, they're always you see motioning there. He was wanting to go in on a bit of contact, but these guys are always going to have a go at the line, particularly on an angle that's cutting back. So you've got to be waiting for that inside ball, and that one didn't go to hand, but on many other cases it would. So they don't want to stop doing that. That's for sure.
So referee obviously playing the longer time for the big injury break that we had, taking it into the past 40 minutes on your clock. There's no need to get excited, punters. Simiu flat to the line. Good position for him to be. OG though, smart work from Matt Rosley as he drifted off the first 5'8". Big dumping tackle. Puts Hong Kong on the front foot defensively. Lamberley, bootlace tackle on the opposite there, number 6. Nayamboya. Kenya battling to get themselves out of their own half. Wouldn't go anywhere just yet, ladies and gentlemen. Still plenty of footy left in this half. Ball comes back and Spitz lays it over the top. Bounces into clean territory. Neville has to come outside his own half. And he's surrounded by 3 of them. They'll need some numbers there. Although the referee brings them back for the advantage play. And it will be half-time according to referee. And Salimi, that's the end of the first 40. As Hong Kong head to the tunnel, 22 points to 13. But you would think anything but comfortable, perhaps a little bit shaken, not stirred.
Yeah, that last 10 minutes before half-time, isn't that the old rugby legend? It's 10 before and 10 after half-time. And Hong Kong probably just dropped off a little bit there, but credit to this Kenyan side. Again, we've been saying it all first half. They get a sniff, they're going to have a go at you and get points. So I'm pretty sure that Jerome Parwater in the sheds for Kenya at half-time will be reinforcing, get rid of those errors, those silly mistakes, and we are in this.
Well, the teams disappear up the tunnel and the crowd take a standing break at the moment as we take in the magnificent sights of Happy Valley. That's on the ground level there, the Sportsman's Bar to the right of your screen, directly behind the goalposts, and then these majestic residential buildings that line the hill around Happy Valley, right around the racecourse. It must be one of the most breathtaking sights in world rugby. Certainly there's been many a Tier 1 international come here and blink their eyes a couple of times when they've seen the sun go down in Hong Kong. It's a pretty special environment, Paul Dwyer.
Very special environment. It's probably, Hong Kong Football Club is probably one of the more unique grounds in the world. Surrounded by monstrously tall buildings, creates an atmosphere all of its own. And you've got guys that are up on the racetrack running around and having a look in. Obviously plenty in at the Sportsman's Bar and around the ground, and enjoying a pretty good first half of footy, that's for sure. Well,
there's plenty to work on. There'll be plenty for Lee Jones to be talking about. He won't be too happy about how the defence for Hong Kong's become, well, I guess disconnected in parts, and they certainly haven't seemed to react well to the hard chasing Kenyans when the ball's gone up.
Yeah, you would think that they went off script a little bit in the back end of that first half, and I know, knowing Lee for a long time, I know he's big on that, playing to the plan and certainly trying to exit and execute where they can, and they seem to just go away from that and put themselves under a little bit of pressure. And as we said, give these Kenyan guys a look, and they will come at you. They'll come at you hard. So I'm sure his message will be, again, cut out the errors, but again, let's just play a bit smarter.
Well, they started off superbly well, the Hong Kong side, but it was Kenya in the later part of the first half who started to pick up the momentum. They started to bring the game to Hong Kong, and we saw a sharp turn of, well, fortune as Kenya started pressuring the line. Great wee try around the front, and all of a sudden Kenya were back in the action at 22 points to 11. The kick from out wide from Mkidza will probably rate as one of the better ones we've seen in the tournament so far, bringing Kenya through to 13. That early work in the first 20 minutes by Hong Kong gave them the lead, and they've got a bit of a cushion as they head up the channel and get ready to turn it round for the second 40. It's Game 6 of the 2017 Regal Hotels Cup of Nations. Championship, of course, already won by Russia. If you've tuned in, I'll give you the news now. Russia, 3 years running now, Cup of Nations champions, and deservedly so. Paul Dwyer, what are your thoughts about the competition as a whole? I think you've even played in one, haven't you?
Yeah, I played in the first two. First two. And I played Russia in a couple of series before that as well. I think it's good. It's good to see this kind of international rugby coming to Hong Kong on a regular basis. It's good to see the guys put under pressure, 3 games in a week or 3 games in 10 days. It simulates maybe what they face moving forward if they want to go anywhere in terms of Rugby World Cup. First and foremost, these are the teams they've got to beat. Russia is obviously just a 3-point in that first game ahead, but they want to make it first notch, get rid of those guys. But then they've got to get used to these types of environments, which is a very good thing.
So the crowd and members make their way down to the food and beverage area. And if I had a wireless microphone, I'd be talking to you while I was walking down there myself. However, maybe next time when the budgets improve, I'll be able to give you a full report from the F&B area. And I know that my esteemed colleague, Paul Dwyer, former international for Hong Kong, has managed to taste the pastry items here today. May not have been piping hot, Bird, but thoughts and comments?
No, look, it's one of the treats of coming to Hong Kong Football Club is the array of meat pies on offer. It's fantastic. The ground is great to play on, but it's great to watch a game of footy here as well. So just the right temperature, actually. Don't mind it not too hot indeed.
Well, it is not too. It's a perfect day for rugby. That's the way it started. And it's continued on as more and more members of the Dagfest have arrived above the members' stand, which is slightly ironic as we look at the dirties in the stand. It's Ben Rimini. He's been spending quite a bit of time at the Squash Open being played. He himself a former star of the glass box and also quite a handy badminton player as well, which isn't surprising being part Pakistani. Sitting with, of course, Jamie Zhang and Liam Slatum, which has been great to see Liam back on the field both for Hong Kong Cricket Club and in the second test match for Hong Kong. He's a mighty player and a guy that leads the way. And then up the middle in the top, looking very clean cut, is Mike Coverdale. And there they are, the stars of the show. Well, the stars of their own show, perhaps. Dagfest 2017. One of the quirky events on the Hong Kong rugby calendar as New Zealanders celebrate the life and times of John Clark, famous comedian and satirist and inventor of the character Fred Dag. Back here to the members' stand, where this collection of people have absolutely no idea what the Dagfest is about, and they don't look terribly involved about finding out either. Hands on hips for Kim Borum, the women's rugby director from the Hong Kong Rugby Football Union. Plenty of conversation there with Ruth Mitchell. It's the glitterati of Hong Kong rugby, including Paddy Donovan. Can't forget the big man, probably on the Jackson Cokes, just quietly. Helps him think and helps him speak clearly. So plenty of action as we get ready for the IM replay halftime highlight package. And let's take a look at Hong Kong as they move down early in the game on the IM replay. And Matt Rosley through Jack Neville, they found the space out wide, and Connor Hartley went in after a couple of nice touches. That was Hartley's try to get things off the mark for Hong Kong. It came early, and there was down the same side again for Matt Rosley as he split them wide open. It looked like he might go in for all money. Toby Fenn was on hand, though, to get him over the line, and then Hong Kong were up by 2-0. The hits kept coming for Hong Kong. They looked dominant in the first 20 minutes, and they made it stick as they sent big Lex Kalika straight up the line, and it was more than Kenya could handle. And Hong Kong were out to a tremendous start, but Kenya were able to turn it around. They came back with their own try, and then the conversion from this try, well, as Paul Dwyer mentioned earlier, it was an absolute beauty. We haven't seen too many like it in the tournament. It was, well, the first half accolades go to Hong Kong. They won it 22 points to 13, but the momentum sat with Kenya as they went up the tunnel. Paul Dwyer, what do you think the words from Lee Jones would have been to his men in the shed?
You can see the wise men coming across the ground there from the Hong Kong side. I think he would have just been reinforcing that start was exactly what they wanted to be doing, and in games like this they have the potential to be a bit of a banana skin, and I know that he is under the impression that these are the sort of games that Hong Kong has to learn to dispatch with the likes of these guys, maybe even the Koreas of the world and that sort of level. So he'll be talking about performance. He'll be talking about just going through their systems and their plays and making sure that they make smart rugby decisions.
So it's not just the win, but it's the quality of the win.
Oh, for sure. You know, I guess they are getting to the quality level in rugby standings that they are going to not be troubled by some teams that they were before. So what that comes down to is the leadership on the field, following through on what the leadership off the field would be looking for. So I guess they started that, and we commented when they turned down probably a fairly certain 5 points from a kick to the corner for a drive, for instead Rosley looking to take the 3 points, which was quite surprising with the momentum they had. But again, that's coming through, that's the plan, that's the script. You can imagine that when they do play the games that will be very, very important in the next 12 months, that's what they will have to do. So I'm sure that they expect to see more of the same in the second half, particularly with the start.
Well, both teams making their way back to the field now. There's Kenya and the recognisable green strip. Hong Kong playing in the, well, Jack Neville looks like he's carded himself. He's ready to go. It's just a little big chunk. Oh, he's giving it Derek Kwok, and Kwok, off. Well, in a massive turn of events in Hong Kong, a player sent a referee from the field. I love this game. And Sameli, the referee, preparing for a start. Nato Simiyu prepares for the kickoff. We say hello to the Guangzhou Rams. We see them walking in to the stadium. I hope they enjoy their evening here as we get ready for the closing half of the 2017 Regal Hotels Cup of Nations. It's Game 6. Kenya to start the second half, Hong Kong to receive. Simiyu's kick floats almost like a one-winged duck down towards, I think it was Rosley, who gets on the right foot cannon and sends it down the Fosgate stand side. We'll see what sort of impact the conversation from Lee Jones, national coach for Hong Kong, has had as our viewers come flooding back online. And if you are watching online and you know someone's in the fridge, go run, tell them that rugby's on. Get back to the screen. Here's the line out, and it's superbly taken. What great pitches that was. Anagini.
Can we show a replay of that? That was amazing.
It was tremendous work, and no wonder Paul Dwyer, the former international lock, has asked to see that again. Oh, now they hit it up, Kenya. They've got the ball in hand, and Onsumu He takes the ball and push it wide through OG. He sees off Dan Barlow with the fend and lays it back well. No, Sumu, he picks up and snipes some metres out of Hong Kong. His ball just there waiting for Kenya. Kapondo, well, look at him take yards out of them. Terrific work from the skipper on Sumu. Just finds the reserve hooker. That's Akimbili. Semiu now. Bunya. The centre in 13. They come back to Nyambua. They keep recycling this ball as Nyambua and Bunya, I should say, comes again. They've got the ball, they've got the continuity, they're stringing the phases together. Houston comes out of the line. That's good defence by Hong Kong. They manage to blitz them and keep them inside the tram lines on the far side. So Hong Kong. Oh, the hand in from Jamie Hood, and it's lost forward. Barlow goes down on the ball. He commits his body, and the referee hands the ball over in a restart by the set piece for Hong Kong.
Unlucky there for the Kenyans, as you mentioned. It looked like Jamie Hood had come through and knocked that one down. Maybe the referee did miss that, but I guess we focused a lot on what Hong Kong will be doing at half time. But from the look of the Kenyans, Jerome Parawater has certainly has probably got his message across quite loud and clear. That was an encouraging start from Kenya. Some nice continuity there, and again looking good in those wide channels, which is what they've just got to keep on focusing on doing.
Giuseppe Pellegrini watching from Reading in the UK. Hope you're enjoying these live pictures from Hong Kong as Jamie Hood breaks away and Lex Kalika decides to take the ball into contact. Tyler Spitz come flying through. Timing probably wasn't just bang on as Hood gets on the right foot and he hooks the ball down. Yukam Shing comes up to place some pressure on, but Kenya managed to peel the ball back down, and now it's Rosley. Rosley in 2 minds, but Jack Neville's not in 2 minds. Jack Neville's only got 1 mind, and that's to put his feet in front of each other very quickly. And now Rosley picks up, looks like Dylan Rogers. Or was that Barlow? It's hard to tell. They've got the similar haircut, these two. It's better when one of them had a fringe. Yeah. The ball is up. They've got to let that man go. He's on his knees. And the resulting set piece goes to Kenya. And really, what an exchange that was.
Jack Neville, you can't sleep on him, can you? Rosley turns inside, probably turned down an overlap to the outside, giving his guy Neville on the inside some space, and he didn't disappoint. He's a deceptive. He's not the biggest guy, but he's got a fend on him. He's got a turn of pace and some incredibly good feet. So he got through there, and then the byproduct of that is some quick go forward ball, and Barlow making good grounds on the outside right at the last hit. IM replay, as we see there, as stated, back inside to Neville. Nice little dink. First line takes care of that pretty easy. Big fend. Makes the ball available pretty quickly here. Rogers with a good clean out. We would have seen there if it kept on going, and then they went wide. Disappointing to finish it, and that looks like it could be the end of the night for Barlow as well.
So it's Ben Higgins comes on to replace maybe Dan Barlow, who you can just see him limping now towards the left of your screen. And it's a shame for the series to end like that for Dan Barlow. He's been really putting it out there. He's an agile, mobile, aggressive front row. It's a shame to see Dan Barlow from the USRC Tigers limp away as Hong Kong tried to pressure Kenya and they spin them round, but the referee says they've walked through the 90.
A good outing from Barlow. As you said, he's been prominent for the first 45 minutes of this game. Carrying the ball on the wide channels, he's obviously paid for the price. He looks like he might have done a calf muscle or something there as he limps back around in front of the sportsmen. But he's been prominent the whole way around. He's made the tight head from Kenya's night very, very uncomfortable the whole time. So he'll be happy with his outing this evening.
So Kenya through the penalty, managed to get the ball down range. And a superb touch finder. There's Kenyan coach presses the button, and he's sent 3 players on at once. Looks like it might be a full front row change. Doesn't look like there's any skinny first 5/8 or halfbacks coming off in this trio.
Yeah, both coaches looking to inject some fresh legs into this. I think for imperative for Kenya, they've got to try and keep some momentum going. If they can score next, let's make this very, very interesting.
So well taken by number 5, Mangini. Now they nudge it up, Kenya. Ball nice and tight at the back, and this is good looking play from the Kenyan forward pack. Deciding just to meet a bit of fire with Fires on Sumu. Flat ball out to Siji. On Sumu again, looking for Simiu. He'll go wide now. Looking dangerous out in the far lines, and Kenya get rumbled into touch. It was a good period of play. They took on the forwards and then they tried us out wide.
Yeah, very, very good for them. And just what they've just got to keep on doing is good set phase, attack them in, just around the fringes, then look to go wide. As the IM replay shows, again, good carry in the midfield. The halfback has been great all night. Semu moves it forward. Tyler Spitz using the sideline as his friend here, and just forcing that error. But again, Kenya looking dangerous when they go wide.
Penalty at the line out to Hong Kong. This really couldn't have come at a better time. It's game just hanging in a bit of limbo for Hong Kong. They'll be desperately wanting to get some points on the board coming out of the first half. These are big minutes. These are big minutes for Hong Kong. This will be a real test of whether, as Paul Dwyer said, they can stick the script, but more importantly, if they can absorb the pressure that's coming from Kenya, who seem to be growing in confidence. Line out, Jans, he finds Houston. Houston's been the go-to in the line out. It's been rock solid, and they wind it away. Hong Kong, that looks fairly safe to me. It's always safe if it's going forward. Kenyan player's got himself in a terrible position there. Get it away, and it's Higgins now, first receiver, and Cunningham cleans that out. Hood, same way playing. He finds Rosley. Rosley looks for the corner. Down towards the bowling green end of the ground, and it's rolling, and it's rolling, and it's... Oh, it's a terrible thing, the rugby ball, isn't it? And can you bring it all the way back to inside the Hong Kong half?
That's a tough bounce for Matt Rosley. He's got a very strong right boot on him, and maybe put a lot too much on that particular one as it went down there. But they again, very, very good functioning set piece, and exited well. Obviously, just the execution there on the back end was not quite there, but again, it presents an opportunity to this Kenyan team. If they can get some parity in the scrum here and clear the ball quick, expect the scrum half to cause a little bit of issue as he ducks away. But a good phase of play here for Kenya.
So Kenya off the back of the scrum they come. Simiu takes it short side. He gets away to Umbanya. On Sumu. It's a great run by Kerry, the new man on the field. Short ball. He's got some big hitters out in the midfield now. Look at them. Oh, Jingos. And Sumu. He finds Simiu. Go even further wide. That's good wide suffocating defence by Hong Kong. It's actually good defence from the home side. As Higgins goes in and commits himself to the contact. Ball comes up for Kenya again. Still plenty of phases for Kenya, but Hong Kong looking organised in defence. That's a great run from the fullback and just about broke them open. And now Jenga. He makes it up to the 22 on Somu. 17 is Lalako. Now they go wide. CG. Ball back in. It's a cut with Makidza. They've made 2 or 3 metres forward. Kenya. Now they're starting to roll on. It's the green machine, ladies and gentlemen. Hong Kong getting a good look at the guy. This Kenyan side, the fire in their eyes as the Simbas come straight through by Kapondo. It's gone out to Onsumu. Has he got all the way there? He has. How did he do it? He's only 5'5". He's stretched out 7 feet.
Great stuff from the Kenyans. Great stuff indeed. That's all they had to be, was just patient. The new injections off the bench have proved genius. Here we are on the IM replay. As you said, Hong Kong plenty of time to match up to this. Just switching off there. Higgins came around, eyeing up the fullback, but forgot about the guy with the ball and struck through. And all the strength you will ever see from the smallest number 9. He got there. They celebrate. Great stuff.
Well, so they should. That's a tremendous try for Kenya. Samson Onsumu. First try of the tournament, and not a better time to live up to his name, Samson.
Yeah, Samson, he rose, didn't he, from the back of that ruck. But Onsumu, he's been one of their best tonight. He is a absolute firecracker off the back of that scrum, and he provides most of the get-go that they get to move that ball wide. So just desserts on the inside, and fantastic. This is kick goes waiting on the kick to go over, but at 22-20, 22-18 even.
Darwin McKidza. His kick, it's on target, and through it goes. 2 more points to Kenya. And my, oh my, we've got ourselves a ball game now, ladies and gentlemen. 22 points to 20. And Hong Kong, well, if they fancy themselves before the game, it's time now to go deep in the pocket and start pulling something out as Kenya turn round and look them square in the eye and say, what's up at 22-20.
Great stuff from Kenya. Hong Kong's going to always put pressure on them with that quite quick defensive line, but if they can just be patient and they can just wait and try and keep those balls in the middle of the park, they're proving giving Hong Kong a lot of problems.
Jamie Hood restarts for Hong Kong, and it flies down to Kerry. Kerry gets the ball on the ground. Onsumu, the try scorer. Sporting the old rat's tail too, so maybe there's a bit of luck, but not lucky on that occasion as Sullivan gets through and puts the arms in the way. It's terrific work by the young lock, and the ball bounces down to Matt Rosley. Now Neville, back to Rosley. Rosley first through the first one. Past the next couple, manages to lay it back. Hood takes short side. Hong Kong onto the front foot and attacking. Yu Kam Shing now. He gets it wide, and number 20, it looks like Kane Boko is on the paddock for Hong Kong. Time to bring in the pace of Kane Boko as Kalika gives it off to Spitz. Intercepted by Makudza out on the far side. How did he do that? It's been peeled off though by Kalika, and Hong Kong maintained the ball. Now it's Hood. Griffiths on the paddock as well for Hong Kong. Griffiths turns and shadows, and it's a pick and roll with Dylan Rogers, and now they nudge it forward, Hong Kong, so they'll go death by 1,000 cuts by the look of it, the home team. The ball's slow there. You can see it. Sullivan gets on the front foot, and he dishes it up to Jans, and Hong Kong starting to get some front foot momentum. Now Neville finds Spitz. Spitz commits. Yu Kam Shing for the line. Yu Kam Shing scores the try. What a try to Yu Kam Shing, the second for the tournament. For the Tigers play, they'll talk about this, but all they want to say is, fair try. Well, sensational stuff. Great phases lining up as the IM replay shows. Paul Dwyer, Hong Kong, they did it all right.
Yeah, they did. That try by Kenya obviously was the spark they needed, the kick in the pants that they needed to get going. But they just put the ball through the hands on the far side of the pitch, which led to Kalika going through and trying to link up with Spitz on the other side. Kenya stopped that one, but there was no stopping them when they came this way this time. Just a lack of numbers. Salum Yu Kam Shing, he is a very, very good finisher in both forms of the game, and there was no stopping him that close out.
Well, hats off to the crowd watching us live in Sid's Pub in KL in Malaysia. G'day, Jeff Siddle. Great time to be coming in as Matt Rosley now aims to convert the try by Yu Kam Shing. Mosley's kick, it starts off looking pretty good, but fades to the inside of the uprights, and Hong Kong edge it out to a 7-point gap, 27 points to 20. Paul Dwyer, thoughts and comments?
Yeah, look, I hope I think we're going to be setting up for a grandstand finish here, Jedi. You would hope that Kenya is going to not drop the gauntlet here and come straight back at them. Expect them to try and put some pressure on, try and break this game open. If Hong Kong controls it, controls the tempo, controls that ruck play, Kenya won't be in it. But if Kenya can break it up, then look out.
So the restart from Simiu, and it's they competed well, didn't they, Kenya? As they went through and they flooded Nick Hughes, and he just couldn't quite get a clean hand on the ball. It's going to be Hong Kong ball nonetheless, as we watch this game 6 coming up to the final quarter of the tournament. And the way that Kenya have improved since they took the field last Friday, absolutely remarkable. You can only imagine if they got more rugby, they could call themselves pretty deadly. They have made some huge advancements in the times that they've been in Hong Kong, and nothing else to really concentrate on, I would say, other than their rugby and operating together. There'll be a reset at the scrum. Hong Kong will be quite happy to take a few more moments.
Yeah, it's always difficult when you come together as a squad, and I don't know how much rugby these guys play back at home from a club perspective, but when you do come together and then you've got to travel halfway around the world, it's going to take some time to come together. It's going to build a bit of chemistry, mesh back together and get used to playing firstly at this level and secondly together. And it looks like if this game was 160 minutes long, or they had another game in a couple of days, they'd be right in it. But still plenty of time to go here. Hopefully we see some more fireworks.
So Jamie Hood releases Rosley, goes wide, Spitz tries him on the outside. Connor Hartley almost got into full stride and cleared out from the line. Now they break through Kane Buko. The Hong Kong Scottish flanker gives it off to Toby Fenn. Hood again. Rosley, they go back, and that play was untidy from Hong Kong, but I think they knew what was coming. They certainly saw the arm go out, and one would think they might just try this one down on the corner, Paul Dwyer.
Yes, they'll nudge this one deep, I'm sure, probably just stabilising. These are the times that I mentioned before, the leadership on the field. This comes back to the script. This comes back to they'll know what they want to do in this particular period of play. Dane Jans is already trudging up the sideline, looking to get this line out going quickly.
So Matt Rosley punts it down towards the Kenyan corner, and he just breaches the inside of the Kenyan 22. Be a line out restart to Hong Kong. As checking into the game is live wire halfback for Jamie Hood. So the experience of Jamie Hood makes way for, well, the boy that really can spark action. Jamie Hood, tremendous player for Hong Kong in both forms of the game. Kadu Lee now into the fold as the throw-in goes wrong. Kenya come away with the ball and nudge down the far tram lines in front of the Fosgate stand. Rosley, chip and chase from Neville. Jack Neville just throwing all caution to the wind as Lee skirts the ball across, and they're playing on the gain line. A terrific play. Adrian Griffiths around the corner to Connor Hartley, and the two Scottish teammates, well, former teammates, almost linking up there. Of course, and Adrian Griffiths is now up the hill.
Yeah, up at the Career Club now. Again, going back, comes back to that play. Jack Neville, geez, dangerous, isn't he? The little dink over the line, picks it up and makes some play going forward. But these are those moments. I mentioned that leadership group, that last line out, not going to hand, those sorts of things they'll look to scrub up on.
Well, they've been well swindled at this time at the line out. Hong Kong, as it comes down conveniently in the arms of Martin Awilla, the Number 8 for Kenya. Now they march it off down the line. Kenya and someone finds OG. Sorry, CG, I should say. Rosley goes in to effect the tackle. Started by Dane Jans, who's put in a good shift as they hit 60 minutes now. Look at this run by CG. Lee's the only line of defence. Can Lee get across and make a tackle? He can't. And Kenya run in courtesy of Vincent Mose. And it's Kenya strike back 25 points to 27 with the kick to come. Oh, what a beauty.
Here we go. Here we go. It'll be an exciting last 20 minutes here. IM replay. Just have a look. Dylan Rogers beaten on the inside. A fairly sort of tired attempt at a tackle there. But the midfielders all night, and here we go. Look at that. For pace on the outside, these boys can run, they can play. Well done, Kenya. Kick to come. We could be all tied up, Jedi.
Yeah, the guy in replay just showed how swift this man, Vincent Mose, is. As he got on the pedal there, and he's outdone Kadu Lee, he's no slouch. And he's just glided past Jack Neville. So, terrific stuff. All from a very well taken line out. They were very disciplined at the front of the line out. They got the march on, and then they took off like a shot. And now Darwin McKidza lines up his 9th shot on goal. He's been successful 7 times out of 8 thus far. He's got the opportunity here to draw Kenya up even. You can bet there will be some real electricity in the atmosphere if McKidza can knock this one over. Darwin McKidza, his shot on goal. Ooh, just must have skirted on the outside of the uprights. 27 points to 25. Former Hong Kong international Paul Dwyer. Thoughts and comments now?
Well, if you're good enough, you're close enough, that's for sure. And then Hong Kong bringing the changes here, bringing on three subs to try and stem the flow here. But I don't think it's quite panic stations yet. But these Kenyan boys, again, coming home with a wet sail in the second half, as they did in the first. They'll be dangerous moving forward. If they can clear their line, have parity up front, expect them to start exploiting some tired forwards around the fringes.
So some changes made for Hong Kong as Dane Jans comes off along with Dylan Rogers. Callum McFeet-Smith comes in at 18 to stiffen up the front rows. The ball bounces almost in a mad fashion, and it's come off the chest and arms of Matt Rosley. And Kenya, well, that's a brilliant exit play.
Very good. It's almost like the Semu may have done that intentionally. He's when it seems if he gets rushed onto his left foot and he's got minimal space, he tends to bounce it right up the parallel of the touchline. So good on them. But again, little errors creeping in. The Hong Kong team is under pressure. It'll be interesting to see how they react with 20 to go.
Well, important. The line-out's been working beautifully for Kenya. They managed to get over the ball. They have secured it. It is there. And Somu, he releases, and it's Simu onto the right foot, and he puts the up and under on his. CG comes flying through to take on Jack Neville, and Jack Neville gets on the Jets, and he just cuts them to ribbons. Neville looks on the outside. Great hands by Kane Boko. He takes it up to the 22. Hong Kong now on the ground. Lee gets it, finds Rosley. Rosley goes wide. Hartley takes on the line and crashes headfirst into the Kenyan defence. Lee keeps the ball in hand. Look at him fighting for every inch. The halfback, Toby Fenn now. He rolls over, lays it back. It's Ben Roberts from the cricket club. He gets it up and nudges it forward. Lee telling his forwards what he wants, demanding what he wants, getting what he wants. Now they break it wide. Hong Kong into the middle of the pitch. They flood round and clean it. Lee feeds Rosley inside for Yu Kam Shing. Yu Kam Shing for the line again. He's held up. They can't roll him over, surely not. Roberts almost went up for the spectators' catch. On the line, fighting for every inch they can get is Hong Kong. It's a pick and go. Hong Kong close to the line. No way forward. The ball is there for Lee. He takes it, moves it. Hartley, what a try. What a slam dunk. And Hong Kong head back.
Well taken try by Connor Hartley there. He's a big guy, long reach, got over, but that goes back to that run by Saloom Lou. Yeah, back to Jack Neville again. That guy can make space from nowhere, but here we are on the IM replay. Look at that. 3 tacklers on him. Thanks very much. Reaches out. A little too easy in the end for him. But no, I was going to say go back to Saloom Yu. Again, we saw that in that game against Russia. That little ball off the 10 or inside of the 10, he can make some good yards, pulled down short. But what a talent Jack Neville is. I mean, it's great to have you. We don't have the McQueens in Hong Kong right now. And that was something Alex McQueen was always so good at the back. But now with Jack Neville, an emergence of a new star for Hong Kong.
Matt Rosley lines up what is going to be a very, very important conversion in the scheme of things. It's certainly not outside of his abilities to nudge this over. Rosley's conversion attempt now, all important for Hong Kong. It's in the air, and it's there for Rosley. It's there for Hong Kong. And they move out another 2 points, 34 points to 25. And really, Paul Dwyer, that try couldn't have come as a better time as the IM replay shows Connor Hartley, and it is the slam dunk try.
Yes, IM replay there. Connor Hartley taking his chance, one off the ruck, resenting a bit more of a prop forwards line than a guy with a number 11 on his back. But Hong Kong needed to reply there. They needed to come back and try and stem this flow, and that was just what they needed at that time. So what a great, just a bit of breathing room there. 34 plays 25, but expect more from Kenya in these closing stages.
Well, we've made some information through from former Hong Kong Rugby Union staff coach Chris Davies. He's Connor Hartley, 6'4", so we should be thankful of that. It's small in Fijian terms, we know, Chris, but look at this from Kenya. Look at this from Kenya. What a try! Unbelievable scenes as the Kenyan lock comes through, and I won't say like a thief in the night, but it's fallen from the tree. He's picked it up on the bounce. He's gone through, no one's touched him. No one else is in the frame on that, and Hong Kong caught napping.
IM replay. Griffiths mistimes his jump there. Goes straight down to the big fend. Get that in you, Saloom Yu. And he goes over the big guy down the left-hand side.
Oh, Managini, I should say. What a try. Goodness gracious me. 34-30. The kick that come from out wide from Mkidza.
Well, I thought we'd see some more fireworks out of Kenya, but I did not think it would be 10 seconds later. Fantastic stuff from them. But again, coach killers, those kind of things. You've got to get those kickoffs under control. But you take your chances when they present themselves. He was good enough. Ball dropped out of nowhere. That's not easy to do, folks, when that ball just comes at you when you're running through. Picked it up. Big fend on Saloom Yu, and away he goes. Great stuff. Important kick.
Oh, what a try from Kenya. What a response from Kenya. Thought that last try from Hong Kong might have taken some soul out of them. But if anything, they were just helping to sharpen their awareness, make them even keener. McKid's kick from out wide. He's 7 from 9 for the tournament. Ball just on the inside of the upright, so Hong Kong 34 now. As McKidza goes back to halfway, Kenya 30. It's a 4-point lead. And we're coming down to the final minutes of this test match. Coming through to the half-hour mark in the second half. 34-30, second half. Hong Kong leading Kenya. And Kenya almost keen to upset the apple cart here in Hong Kong. Matt Rosley's restart goes down towards the Kenyan, inside the Kenyan 22, picked up by Kerry. He takes it into contact, lays it back nicely. It's gone square though, and it's been picked up by Hong Kong. Now, Higgins, he gives it to Griffiths, and Griffiths into contact. Hong Kong attacking at the right end of the park through a mistake at the restart. Yeah, they pinch a few more yards, Hong Kong. Lee keeps them playing out towards the Fosgate stand. Lee now looking for a receiver, finds Rosley. Rosley goes at the line and they clean over the top of him. Lee, where's his option? Finds Roberts. Roberts makes his way halfway through. Lee picks up Griffiths on the run around as they come through. They may have to come back towards the centre of the park. No, Lee keeps it coming the same way. Higgins. That's the way the front rowers do it. Head down, backside up. Moving as Kane Boko centres up the play. Good counter ruck by Kenya, but the ball is here for Lee. How did he get it away? Rosley hardly gets trapped with the ball, but Hong Kong make their way forward another 10 yards. Lee out towards the far corner. Oh, gee, this is committed stuff from Kenya in defence. Still they repel the home side, the Kenyans. Look at them firing themselves into the grinder here. The ball is slow. The penalty comes to Hong Kong. And it'll be another pressure kick to Matt Rosley. I don't see them going anywhere but the poles, Paul Dwyer.
No, I suggest that you're right there, Jedi. I think he's already signalled even. Nick Hewson's pointing at the post from the middle of the field. As you quite rightly pointed out, this Kenyan defence is certainly holding strong here. Plenty of energy from the bench. Griffiths trying to make up from that error from the kickoff. He carried 2 or 3 times in that sequence. Boko's nothing but energy from the bench. Kenya just hanging in at this stage.
Well, you can imagine what the feeling might be like for a young bloke like Max Denmark. He's sitting there at number 21. He's got to be the next cab off the rank. He's going to go into a pressure cooker game with a few minutes, one would think. Yeah,
but he's the kind of guy that might be sort of well suited to this. It's going to come down, I think, maybe who gathers a stray ball, and we saw with the Kenyans what they could do if something just presented itself. And he is Max Denmark. That boy is extremely quick. He can run. So Lee Jones, if he's comfortable enough, he might put him out there and see if he can break this thing wide open.
Matt Rosley's kick is through, and that's 3 important points for Hong Kong as they take it out to a converted try again. It's 37-30, and you're right, that's the old saying in rugby, Paul Dwyer, if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Yeah, exactly right. Converted try, and we're back to level pegging, but 37-30, the crowd's got their money's worth, that's for sure.
Well, you wonder where the support is for Hong Kong. It is here. When you get the feeling there's some real respect for this Kenyan side. They've come a long way. They've battled hard in their first 2 games. And now they've just let loose the Simba here at the Hong Kong Football Club as Lee gets the ball out. And Hong Kong drive it up and over their 22 through Higgins. Now the exit play is Rosley gets it onto that massive right foot cannon and he sends it down. It's picked up well. Here's Kerry, or is it the number 8? Willa. Now that's Simi Makudza. He's lost that ball forward. Trying to sweep it up on the camera, or the wraparound was Ali McClay, veteran winger in the Hong Kong scene. And the closing 10 minutes of the match coming down is 8 minutes and change left, 37-30. Paul Dwyer, thoughts and comments?
Unfortunate for Makudza there. He's been good today, out on the right wing side for Kenya. Just got caught up a bit of traffic there, spilled the ball, but Kenya still willing to attack, still have got some stuff to show here. Number 8 has been great all evening as well. Owila again carries that ball back from Rosley well, sets up good play. They're playing clever rugby at this point in time, still giving Hong Kong plenty to think about. Hartley has moved into the midfield here with Kaliki going off, so that'll give them a bit more punch in there and with his length.
So Lee finds McClay on the burst on the inside channel. Lee looking for more runners. Hewson carts it up. Now Lee sends it straight back, and Rosley coming onside fast as Yukam Shing, and that ball's been spilled in the presence of Yukam Shing, and now Hong Kong find themselves on the front foot, but with no players. Ball kept alive through McClay. Lee, they wind it round. Rosley now takes on the defensive line. He's still going, Matt Rosley. Those are valuable yards for Hong Kong. Lee looking for runners. Finds Neville. Neville takes 2 of them. Lee now, he can only see Hewson in his sights. Gets absolutely poleaxed by the Kenyan captain. Somehow, though, manages to get the ball back on the Hong Kong side. Hewson, Higgins. Well, he's done well with a marginal ball. Almost a hospital pass. Now Lee. Far side, they take it. Rosley. Spitz. Taken just as he got the ball. Tyler Spitz, he loves running at those small holes.
He does. Yeah, he's a little pocket rocket in that back line. Defies belief sometimes the collisions that he runs into, but he'll probe on the outside, and it's complimentary to have such a big unit and Connor Hartley inside him at this stage of the game, because he'll probe right off of his shoulder, and that was quite evident there. So Kenya not out of this yet. Hong Kong, they're still throwing caution to the wind, even though they're trying to protect the 7-point lead.
As we watch the IM replay, and it's Lee floats his back. Rosley takes a couple of steps before unloading it, and that was a terrific tackle by Davis Chenga. Absolutely needed to make it. Tyler Spitz, he hits the ball hard and flat. That's the way he likes to play the game. Kenyan flanker doing all the good work there. And Somu releases Mukidza onto the right foot down the far side. Taken by Neville. He spreads it in, and now it's Yukam Shing, and Yukam Shing sort of saw a gap open, and he tried to take it. The ball is available. Lee towards the members' stand, and it's Toby Fenn, the member of the National 7 side, showing a bit of pace as he opens it up, and Lee, Rosley, Neville, Spitz goes wide. Great hands from Hong Kong. McClay unloads. Hartley into the action now, and they'll get over the top of him if they can. And they do, and it's McClay. They're playing it flat and close to the gain line. Higgins. Lee. The halfback releases. Rosley looks. He puts it on the toe and it comes through. It's awkward bounce, but it's beautifully picked up by Vincent Mosi. Kenya now with the ball. They settle in. They'll be looking to exit their quarter as quickly as they can. Strong play by Kenya. They've got the ball back and calmly get rid of it downrange through Mukidza. Hong Kong forced to start the attack again from inside their own half. Neville shows the ball, takes on the Kenyan defence, creeps forward another couple of inches on the ground. Penalty to Hong Kong, and one would think Matt Rosley's going to get the call up here, Paul Dwyer.
Yeah, it's you would think Houston will point at the posts here, and yes, he has. We're going for the points here, but Hong Kong going through the stages. You saw Ben Roberts in the picture there, a calming influence with the leadership coming through. Just sort of doing what they need to do to get past this. The Kenyans are. We had a couple of walkers in that last sequence, feeling the pace of this game at the end, but it's credit to the Hong Kong team to be able to still be trying to push the play at these late stage. Just shows the conditioning that's going in behind the scenes.
Well, from the park comes Toby Fenn, the number 7 for Hong Kong. As we quickly scan around the ground, and his replacement is, in fact, the youngster Max Denmark, as Matt Rosley lines up this vitally important kick. Rosley's attempt for the penalty looks good, looks long, it's good, it's worth 3 points. Oh, what an important kick for Hong Kong. 40 points to 30. And have we seen Hong Kong close the gate?
Well, a 10-point lead with around 4.5 minutes to go. You would think that they could have just about pushed this one beyond doubt. Rosley turned and went back to his own half as soon as he struck that. He liked it off the foot. But 10 points. Kenya, they'll need to score very, very quickly here, but they're certainly capable, that's for sure.
Well, not more than 2 and a few minutes to go in regular time. Should I say 3 minutes and change by the look of the clock, is now Simiyu. He unloads the ball and it comes forward, and Lee, they quickly move it wide. McClay busting tackles, goes wide to Lee again. Lee can't hold the ball and it's almost taken off him by Simiyu. Kenya, they maintain it. Now where they look to run it, they do. CG, he's tackled by Sullivan, who's got through a power of work today. Boko makes the tackle on Somu. They drifted wide. 17 is Nalako. As the referee comes back and calls time off, and we've got an injury, and it looks like number 23
Ellie
to Hong
McClay.
Kong, Ellie McClay, has taken what looks like to be a very, very heavy blow. And there's some immediate concern about the well-being of Ellie McClay. And rightly so, the referee has blown time off. As we go to come inside, there's only a few minutes left in this game. We've already seen one large stoppage for the retirement of a Kenyan player, and I would say that this one looks just as serious as that. As we take a look at number 18, the big frame of Masonia. The crowd look on, plenty of conversation happening in there. Might be a little bit of buffalo going down in there as well, Paul Dwyer.
Certainly is. They're having fun out there, the Hong Kong crowd. It's been a great evening. So 40 to 30 in a test match, plenty for the crowd to enjoy, that's for sure. But plenty of big concern being shown out there for Ellie McClay, as you mentioned, stalwart of the Valley Club. It looks when you get Doc Owens rushing out on the field at such a haste, it's probably maybe a head injury. So hopefully he's okay, and this is again super precautionary. He's been great since he's been on the field, plenty of energy, and I guess right before his mishap here, a great run that just about put Kadu Lee Array down the left-hand touch. So 2 minutes to go in the game. This could take a little while to make sure Ali is okay and off the field. So one last attempt for the Kenyans after the resumption in play.
Well, images here of the members stand on the Fosgate side of the field, Fosgate stand side of the field, and this is the public stand on the opposite side. We always look, certainly a hive of activity here, as these people absolutely stoked about being in there. Connor Hartley handing out the congratulations.
Bold move.
Very bold move.
Bold move indeed.
Unless he's just won some paper, scissors, rocks. I don't.
Maybe indeed.
As we look at wide, as we can see those, once again, this fantastic medical team. It's a shame they've been called on twice today, but they have come out and they've done an outstanding role indeed. It's one of the great things about the Hong Kong setup is certainly the medical teams that operate here. Very efficient. These three men who have done a good shift tonight. James Cunningham at lock, and not the tallest lock in the world, but by gee, he gets through some yards, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Looks like he's a fan of this song as well, singing along there. Great stuff. No, not the tallest, and I guess he brings a lot of other attributes to the play. An ex-leaguey out of the Sydney competition, so he brings a bit of toughness. What Hong Kong has always searched for has been size and just a bit of mongrel, dare I say it, down the middle of the park, and he certainly does give them that, as well as being a pretty skillful individual.
Well, there's a future Hong Kong player right there. Keen as mustard, knows exactly what it's all about. Happy when Dad's got one, but I'll help you out with that, old fella. No problem with that. Laughing at Thomas Lamberley, but a lot of people do when they've got a head like that. Lovely bloke, Thomas. Great character. Always a good man to see out on the social scene. It means you're pretty much in the middle of it if you bump into Thomas Lamberley out there somewhere. As the Hong Kong team gather around Craig Hammond, who, well, he's not the type of bloke to be telling you sweet nothings, Craig Hammond.
No, he's not. He's about as competitive as they come. I'm pretty sure he races his wife to the breakfast table every morning.
And wins.
And wins. And gloats.
Well, I don't think he'd be silly enough to gloat.
He used to bring his boots to every single game. He is Hong Kong qualified. He used to take his boots. I'm sure he still does. Has them packed away just in case needed. I think that would set an unusual precedent if the forwards coach laced up in an international, but it just shows you the passion that he's got for the game. and that certainly is shown in the way his forward pack does handle themselves on the field.
The Kenyan bench look on as the action continues to unfold, and the injury is dealt with by the medical team, and they've come a long way, and in the space of 8 days they have improved out of sight. As we look up into the back row, and Brett Wilkinson just gauging the quality of the pastry goods here, as any front rower and head coach is entitled to do, and Brian Rennie testing out the balance of the plastic cups there just to his left. So it's a full team effort from the Hong Kong Rugby Union today.
Yeah, the guys in the red shirts are out in force, aren't they? But just to touch back on your point about Kenya before, they've certainly come here to play, and they've been great tonight. They've been really, really good against a pretty well-drilled Hong Kong team. I think if you were in all honesty, I think Hong Kong probably expected they would come out here and they'd have their way early, and they would stamp out Kenya and march on. But Kenya have had certainly something to say about that. And I guess I touched on at the start of the game, at the top of the call, this is probably about the 5th time they've played in the last year or so, and albeit those 4 games have been over in Nairobi, but they've always been troublesome for Hong Kong. They're a quality outfit, so as you mentioned, tough travelling away. They've had some adversity, but they've certainly been great tonight, that's for sure.
So Ali McClay leaves the ground, unfortunately, on a stretcher, and we send him all the best wishes, of course, as we do with the Kenyan player that was forced to retire, and it's not a great scene to be carried off on the shield. So very unfortunate accident there. Wish Ali a speedy recovery. As we pick up the game again with a scrum restart, it'll be Kenya to feed. 2 minutes and change left on the clock. 10 points the difference. As we get set, will we see something special out of Kenya in these last moments of game number 6 of the Regal Hotels Cup of Nations for 2017. It's been a tremendous tournament. It's generated a lot of interest online. We've had great audiences watching from Kenya and Chile and all the Russian fans from around the world. Plenty of rugby fans, including lots of Hong Kong fans internationally. It's been an absolute treat to be part of the broadcast team to bring you this tournament as Onsumu gives it off, and it's a change at the first 5-8. Now they make their way through. Mose goes straight into Jack Neville and he shuts him down. Adema now, Biko Adema playing at first receiver in 22. As Onsumu finds Adema, the man just on the field, and they dish it off, and Mose again takes a lick at the line, and he's covered off by Yu Kam Shing and I think Tyler Spitz. Midfield set now. And they look playing back towards the public stand, and it's Taylor Spitz who gets in there and hits the man hard and drives him down into the ground on Sumu. Midfield set for Kenya. Parrying away this harrowing attack. Wave after wave coming from Kenya, but Hong Kong able to endure. Now they're into the final 60 seconds of the game. 40 points to 30. Hong Kong leading by 10. Ball spills back. Adema, he moves it wide. 11 is OG. Onsumu picks up the number 8. Owilla. Onsumu again. Straight up to Lalako. He's met and driven down. Now they push it wide, Kenya. Could be on for Kenya. No, it's not, but Kobe makes a big tackle with Nick Hewson. And the penalty comes eventually for Kenya. I think that might be the call. The shot might have been a wee bit high. Couldn't quite see the signal from the referee. There doesn't seem any reason to go for the poles, and in fact they won't, as Biko Adema steps forward, and this will be, one would think, the final test of the Hong Kong defence. Line out restart, only metres from the line. What will we see here, Paul Dwyer?
I think they've favoured the their captain coming forward and taking near the front of the line out. I don't expect to see anything different here. And there we are, as we see right up the front, another quick one trying to catch Hong Kong napping.
Hong Kong react well. Sneaky move by Kenya, but that's good play from the Simbas. Variation's the key as they blow it up again. And the referee turns it over. In fact, the referee turns and blows no side. And Hong Kong have come away with a hard-earned win over this Kenyan team who have improved so much over 3 test matches, as the players congratulate one another for an entertaining 80-minute spell out in the middle. This Kenya side, tremendous effort, and that's the final score in Game 6 of the 2017 Regal Hotels Cup of Nations. It's Hong Kong defeating Kenya 40 points to 30. What a game that was. We saw a great performance out of this Kenyan side. Tremendous stuff. But Hong Kong equal to the task. Let's check out the highlights on the IM replay as we look. And this was Kenya straight out of the bat. Look at the arrival of Onsomu, and how did he get that? Well, he must have grown about 5 feet on the ground. What a try to the little halfback. Hong Kong were out of the action, it would seem, for quite some time, but they managed to hit back. Yu Kam Shing slamming it down, and that was terrific build-up work off the break of Jack Neville. And Kenya almost not to be outdone. Look at the run by CG. He finds Vincent Mose, who turns them inside out, and then just ghosts on by with supreme pace. What a try that was to Kenya. That really lit the crowd up. And then Hong Kong, well, they had to do it from short range, and Connor Hartley slams one down for the home side. What a relief that was. But it wasn't over there, as Kenya pushed through and scored this one, an absolute coach killer. Kenya struck back. It was a win in the end for this team, as Craig Hammond, technical coach, congratulates his players, and Dai Rees, the big boss, the gaffer of Hong Kong Rugby Union, congratulates his team as well. It's a win to Hong Kong, and they move to second on the poll. Congratulations goes all round between Thomas Lamberley and Kane Bako. Both of them have worked very hard, and it's time now to cross down to Paul Dwyer with winning coach Andrew Hall.
Thanks, Jedi. Here we are with victorious Hong Kong coach Andy Hall. Andy, a good old test match out there tonight, 40 to 30. Is that what you expected from a Kenyan side?
Yeah, look, all the times we played them previously, they're so dangerous in attack, and look, we've conceded previously, so we've had to score, over 40 points some occasions. So, look, we were delighted to get the win. Made it a bit hard for ourselves, but yeah, it was good to get the win in the end.
You talked Lee talked in the newspapers during the week about progression, about performance. Obviously, a game like this is a potential banana skin about where you want to head moving forward. Were you happy with that today?
Yeah, I think part of our game we did step up, but then again there were parts of our game where we just dropped off. But that's great for us with the next 12 months that we can pick the good things that were positive. But at the same time, there's plenty to work on moving forward, which is a massive 12 months for us.
Great, mate. All the best. Thank you.
Cheers.
Paul and Paul Dwyer down on the sideline there as we cross these pitches now of Kenya receiving congratulations from Hong Kong, and well they might. It's a team that's had to do it the tough way. They left under a cloud of sadness, but they can go home feeling very proud of their achievements on the road. It's a tough task to come to a place like Hong Kong and remain focused on the job, but Kenya have done well, and they've improved in the 3 test matches that we've had the pleasure of watching them in. And the other pleasure has been the Kenyan fans online. And so there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the wrap-up, the 2017 Regal Hotels Cup of Nations Game 6, a win to the home team Hong Kong, 40-30 over Kenya. That's your final score. On behalf of Moses Bailey and Paul Dwyer, my co-commentators today, and the production team here in Hong Kong, we wish you a very pleasant evening. Hope you enjoy the rest of the rugby coming up tonight. This is Jed Thine signing off from Hong Kong. Thank you and good night.